Alright, this video shows off the hard mode B ribbon. Just showing a quick failure from the run before with Nyala Nurse Shark. Problem is I put a 1-up on the Nyala, and with Pteranodon level 2, I would need it level 3 to actually activate the Nurse Shark twice. So probably should have just like chocolate cake the Nyala, and then you 1-up the Nurse Shark. But yeah, that was a learning experience. But this was really difficult to do. Man, did it take so long. Probably the hardest challenge I've done yet. It took me like 5 hours of attempts to get this final ribbon, or not the final ribbon, but probably one of the hardest ribbons in the game. And I mean, besides like the sloth. And it really was just so difficult because of the teams that I was facing. The hard mode debuffs are still quite unbalanced, and I have quite a few suggestions on how to make them a bit more balanced, which I'll probably talk about in a bit. But to actually start, this is custom packs and taking ink, because it's actually not that bad at the start. Same with the handkerchief, because getting like getting weakness or ink on your front 2 units, you can kind of position around, and it's not a huge deal. Plus I have moths, so actually -3 damage might not be the worst possible thing. So it can kind of take these early on. The problem is that most of the time on the later rounds, on like tiers 5 and 6, when it affects your entire team, those are really devastating to run into and pretty much just like instant losses. You have to have like an onboard turtle or something, and most of the time that does not happen. But there's quite a few more counters, I feel like, in customs than there are just in the static packs, so I think it's a little bit easier. The problem is that you also run into a lot of crazy teams, so it's kind of this little trade-off that you have to decide, but I do find it to be slightly easier, and I'm going for the bee right away, just deciding to put a lot of honeys on pill units and try to pill and then get to level 2, so that I at least can get like a level up out of the bee, and that might get a little bit of value. But going for the XP build just because it's so many stats early on, and hoping to kind of just get ahead, because a lot of times I was just losing in the first few rounds, getting down to like 2 or 1 hearts really way too quickly, and then just run into like one really strong team in the late game, and then it was all over. So, I mean, I found it much easier this run. I mean, you could probably tell from the length of the video, but it actually was a pretty quick win, and that's the reason that I actually won, because the teams get ridiculously strong once you start getting to like turn 16, 17, 18. Like, stats are just not enough. They have some absolutely crazy abilities. I ran into so many like leopard teams or like nurse shark teams. I ran into like hedgehog toad teams that would absolutely destroy me. Like, I tried so many different builds because I thought like there's so many OP things. Like, I tried nurse shark. Turns out it's not super good when like there's a bunch of 50-50s with like melons and stuff. Or I tried German shepherd, but then I would run into so many sniper teams and would lose anyway, and end up just getting like kind of a tempo kind of win with a whole bunch of stats with this one. But I mean, this challenge is, it's not like I mean, it's kind of interesting. I think it is a fairly decent challenge, but at the same time, I've seen people posting about like how they first tried this, like Kyogre and like cleanup, talking about how it wasn't actually that difficult for them. But I don't know how they managed to achieve it so consistently, because it took me so many attempts. And I don't know if my custom pack is just bad, but I think they also were just playing like pack 1, the turtle pack, and we're getting the achievements that way. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess maybe they just got lucky once, or maybe they're just way better at the game than I am. I'm not really sure. But yeah, the options here. So Dice Cup, the one I took previously, pretty easy one to take. That is just generally a nice one and pretty easy compared to the others. Here, had to take Dodgeball. I have 2 fairly weak units. It can kill the bee and it can kill the dragonfly. But I wasn't quite sure what to sell here, so I decided to sell the dragonfly, take the blobfish pill, and then probably just going to put in another dragonfly. But there's the level up. Going to get +2, +2, and +2, +2. Go ahead and take the blue ringed octo, and then I'm going to probably take the dragonfly once again. The dragonfly buy, sell, kind of questionable, but I'm just trying to get a little bit of stats going. And yeah, the XP build gets you ahead in stats pretty quickly. So this is what carried me in the mid game. And like running into some fairly weak teams as well. Big Bulldog, not really too much of a problem, especially if it runs against my big unit and doesn't actually one-shot it, because its attack and HP are like scaled with each other. But there's another Blobfish and there's another Honey. Now I just need to find the pill, and I can get the level 2 bee, which would be pretty good. Roll it into another Jellyfish, so I actually could go for level 2 Jellyfish here if I want to. So if I level up the clownfish, I get +4, +4. If I level up the jellyfish, I just get, like, I don't think it's worth it. I still think I should pug the clownfish here, but maybe I just really wanted one big unit. I guess like was the clownfish gonna die anyway? I think it would have killed the blobfish and the bee instead. So I think it would have been fine because the ability goes after the things already trigger, which is kind of nice, I guess. But going for level 3 jellyfish because I already get the level up from the bee. The bee's going to get +2/+2. Early catfish, not really super amazing. But early Highland cow, that is going to be really amazing because I also have pug. Pug just generally one of the best units in the game, I think. It is crazy good, probably S tier. As a tier 2, it has an ability that is helpful the entire game. It can make so tier ups are even more OP than they were before because you instantly get those level 2s. Most of the tier 6s, when they get level 2 abilities, become pretty nasty, and I immediately get 17 trumpets, and I have now a monkey to scale it, so just overall a really solid squad. And there's a nurse shark, which maybe I should consider trying to pivot into. I don't really know what I would sell. I guess I could sell Pug now that I got the level 2, or I could go for... I probably should just take that Highland Cow so I can make it instant level 3, just for that little bit of an extra tempo. I do have to make sure that the attack on the Pug is still higher than the Highland Cow, but that's going to work for now. And yeah, so the Dice Cup, definitely an easy option to take a lot of the time, and that is, especially since it gets to activate after the start of battle abilities. So that is very lucky to just run into. But now, a pretty tough option. I mean, action figure is pretty much a never take. I could add, like, Hedgehog or Microbe into this pack so that you have a counter to it. But it's just absolutely absurd how difficult some of the things are. Like, Boomerang and action figure, I think, are almost, like, they're way too strong. They gotta be nerfed somehow. I think Boomerang should only appear on turn 6 and above. Or, I mean, tier 6 and above, so turn 11 and above. And also, they should probably nerf its damage to like 20 instead of 30. And then there's some other ones that are also way too OP, like Glasses. I don't think you should be able to find on tier 6, since at that point usually you have a pretty good scaling team, and making everything at 5 HP is way too dangerous. And like Action Figure should be nerfed. I actually think Boot is a little bit too OP, just because like 10 damage to your back unit, that's at least 40 damage. So you have to have a really strong backline, otherwise like the chain is going to start to go off, so I think that one also is a little bit too strong. There are some that are too weak as well. Like a lot of the ones that just spawn weak things in the back, like a 4/4 dog or a 2/2 duck, are also a little bit too weak and could actually be made harder. But I think the focus should be on the ones that are way too difficult right now, because it makes it so a lot of times you can get absolutely screwed over between the two options, where you have to choose between like, you know, action figure or like handkerchief. Choose between like giving the entire team coconut or getting weakness on your entire team. And I mean, that is just not a fair option, because most of the time that just equals instant losses, and that can be very frustrating, because most of the time you do not have enough lives to work with, because you can, like, it's so difficult to win the early and mid game most of the time. But there we go, easy option, not going to take Boomerang. Even though I guess it wouldn't actually kill my strongest units, it's still such a horrible option. And Yo-Yo is so easy when you can just honey the back, and then it really is like no penalty at all, and honey in the back is not even a bad strat to begin with. So that is just one of those options that is very easy. I don't know how they could actually make Yo-Yo harder, but maybe having like some random easy options, I guess, is okay. But a German Shepherd team, but they don't actually have that many summons yet, and the Golden Retriever is going to finish it off. And there we go, turn 13, finally able to get this ribbon. Man, was I glad after like 5 hours of attempts. It really was a difficult challenge. I'll probably be trying to get the other ones as well, but that's going to be it. Thanks for watching. See ya.